Hello everyone, so this is the second half part of the fourth unit, and basically this will conclude the course on the classical electromagnetic theory and the classical mechanics as well. So remember, into this unit we had initiated our discussion with the waveguides. Okay, and what we had inferred out there that the waveguides are the devices which are capable of transmitting the electrical energy from one place to another place. Now, depending upon what sort of energy or the electrical energy, what should be how much electrical energy that we wish to transmit from one place to another place, that would give us a different kind of waveguide. Because as you know that the energy always produces heat, that's given by the Boltzmann equation, which is just K times T, where K is the Boltzmann factor. So that means there could be lots of practical issues. For example, if you have the energy which is high enough, we may be able to produce much higher heat, which might essentially degrade our material or the conducting material that we usually use into the waveguides, or it might destroy the whole setup as well. So now, last time when we were discussing the different kind of waveguides, we didn't talk about those issues because into the kind of energy range or the frequency range or the wavelength that we had talked for these incident waves was not large enough to destroy or damage the waveguide. Okay. However, today into this particular lecture, we are again going to talk of a special class of waveguides which are called optical fibers. So these are devices only to transmit energies which are much higher than those which we had studied before. Okay, so if I have to give you a non-technical definition for the optical fibers, I just say that optical fibers are special class of waveguides which are capable of transmitting the energies which are much higher than the usual. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. So now with this thing, let's start with the working principle and all the other sorts of things and the types of waveguides. Okay, so now let's recall that what we had seen before, that we could essentially form these waveguides using the two plane conducting walls, which could be either separated by a distance b and kept parallel to each other, or it could be the hollow pipe waveguide, or it could be a rectangular waveguide. However, whatever be the shape or geometry of the waveguide, where all of them are going to suffer the multiple reflections. Okay, so these multiple reflections are going to give us another wave, the reflected wave, which is sort of identical to almost identical to the incident wave itself. However, it is sort of moving opposite to the direction of the original wave. Okay, so that means we will have a standing wave for each for each ray or each wave. Okay, and therefore, and that will in fact, so okay, so we will have an incident wave each. So okay, so this is suppose the surface. So we will have the incident wave. It gets reflected. Okay, the story doesn't end over here. it will again, because this is nearly similar to the incident wave, so it will again maybe, okay, so this, suppose these are the two boundaries. So what will happen? So these are the two sheets. Let's start from here. We had an incident wave, it has reflected from this surface, returned back, reflected over here, returned back, and so on and so forth. So multiple reflections will occur in all sorts of waveguides. So due to these multiple reflections, what we realized is that non-TEM modes will be absent. However, we may have TE as well as the TEM mode. Okay, that's one thing. Now the second thing that we had studied in the very earlier part of the third unit itself, that the similar effect could be also obtained by, in fact, having a dielectric slab. Okay, so what a dielectric material does, dielectric material could essentially undergo the could essentially do the total internal reflection, provided the angle of the incident wave, which is called the incident angle, that is larger than the angle, a certain angle, which is called this critical angle, which is essentially dictated by the refractive index of the dielectric material as well as the refractive index of the medium from the where the incident wave originated from. Okay, so that means no matter whether we have a dielectric slab or we have the sheets, perfectly conducting sheets, they both of them are capable of transmitting the electrical energy. Also, in both of the cases, what we have seen, that the wave could be essentially propagating along a definite direction. Okay, so with these two things, what we want to do, and now because we want to essentially transmit energies which are much higher, so what we will do, we will use these daily cases of the dielectric slab and the conducting sheets, we will club them together and form a spatial waveguide. So now that means what we are doing now, we are essentially replacing the vacuum inside by a dielectric slab of certain thickness. Okay, so and then the phenomenon that would be happening over here is essentially called the total internal reflection. Okay, so with this we can have a spatial waveguide which is capable of transmitting energies which are larger enough. Okay, so the story is going to be somewhat similar to this. That's what I had already spoken about. We have the incident wave, it undergoes the reflection, then moves along the opposite direction, will go again and again, and this whole thing will continue. Okay, so okay, so once again we had already talked that the concept is going to be valid for the cylinder, all sorts of geometry, no matter whether this is cylindrical or rectangular or the conducting sheet. For the sake of simplicity and for the practical purposes, I'll tell what the practical purposes I mean. What we will do, we have taken a hollow conducting pipe, replaced the spike by a dielectric slab. Okay, and now what we did, we have surrounded the dielectric slab with another material which has a refractive index which is lower than the refractive index of the dielectric slab. Okay, also we allow only those waves which satisfy the condition of the total internal reflection, that the angle incidence angle or the angle of incidence is larger than the critical angle. Okay, so if you have those sorts of things, we can get a guided wave which is propagating along the axial direction of the waveguide. Okay, so now still we have some difficulties. The difficulties is here. We have seen that dielectric media also produce what is known as the Evanson pairs. Okay, so these are also present, and these are sort of create leakage outside the boundaries of the dielectric slab. So therefore, that means it will reduce the energy every time we have the total internal reflection. Okay, so that means let's cover or have another shield to avoid this leakage. Okay, so this leakage that could be actually, as I already said, that could happen due to this phenomena, this dielectric material, or there may be some weird layers. The leakage could also happen due to the scratching from the dielectric surface as well. So what we do, in order to overcome this, we have another layer of dielectric material, and that we refer as the cladding. Okay. So thus, what we have a core of dielectric material and another layer that's called the cladding. Okay. So this whole thing forms an optical fiber. Okay. So what we learned so far is that optical fibers are the dielectric wavelengths which uses glass or plastic. Now what are the materials actually? These could be glass or plastic, which are obviously inexpensive, number one, and second, these are difficult to break. Okay, so these would be our dielectric materials, and now this is going to be a solid rod actually rather than hollow pipes. Okay, that's another advantage. So these are solids due to the dielectric, as I said, the dielectric medium and the cylindrical in cross section. And this whole thing is essentially called as the optical fiber. And as an example, you have seen the fiber cables, which are used to essentially transmit the data from one place to another place. So those are the examples of these optical fibers. So in the forthcoming lectures, we will be discussing more on the principles and the types of optical fiber. Bye for now. Stay